Welcome back for another dose of alpha. Today we got Taariq Lewis.
If your agent can trade it for you locally on your machine, you are now essentially better than most institutional traders who are looking at trading this market. I've had many companies in the space. My focus right now is on AI. We like to tell everybody that this is an open claw world. LLMs lie. They lie and they try to hide stuff, right?
How do we end up unemployed?
You're human, unfortunately. You're flesh. You're slow. You have gray matter. You need rest. You need sleep. You need food. LLMs and agents don't need rest.
What becomes a limiting agent for LLMs themselves? You're telling me that humans don't matter anymore.
Life is about tokens and time. And we don't have enough tokens and we don't have enough time.
Taariq, welcome to a dose of alpha, man. How you doing?
Doing great, Eric. So pleasure to be here to celebrate with you and Bryan. Let's go. What do we got to talk about? I'm ready to go.
What are we celebrating?
Yes.
Dude, give us our background. Like, how did you get into this game and why crypto?
Oh, well, you may know me from such television shows like Who is Satoshi? Or How Did I Not Go to Jail for the Dark Web?
That's a good story if you want to tell that one.
You may know me from those shows, but name is Taariq, and I've been in the blockchain space since 2013. And really, what else I can say is I've had many companies in the space. My focus right now is on AI and essentially using agents on-chain and also agents for essentially trading and investment strategies. So my company is now called SerenDB.com, also known as Seren, and we make it really easy for people to use agents in investment and trading.
How did you get into this? You iterated a couple of things, got into crypto, but how did you land on this one?
On this thing, Seren?
Yeah.
We've been working on AI on crypto since 2022. Paloma is our blockchain, and Paloma, we essentially started doing an NFTs. We started using AI to generate NFTs way back in 2022 for our blockchain called Paloma. So if you had a Paloma egg, it was AI generated. Those are those times that, it was image generation was the cool thing to use LLMs for. We've been iterating ever since then on how to use LLMs on chain and in the blockchain. And it's been really hard because the LLM quality, in terms of token prediction was not good up until September 2025 and the release of Claude Code. Once Claude Code was released, thank you, Anthropic, we really essentially landed on the idea that agents or LLMs are good enough to essentially to trade. They're good enough to analyze. And we essentially just took our skills in the last 3 months. So it's just been 6 months since Claude Code. A lot of people don't realize that Claude Code came out in September. We're now in March. That's barely 6 months. It's insane. And as a result, because of Claude Code and because of Claude and now Codex has, brought up their quality, you can have agents really autonomously trade for you. And in the crypto space, we've been way ahead. Crypto's always been way ahead of the rest of the world. We've had virtuals trying to do trades for people. We have Zach XBT. But what crypto, missed and what we are living in now is the local first, which is the open claw world. And in the open claw world, you don't need Zach XBT. You don't need somebody to give you advice or tell you what to trade. Your agent, your LLM can go out and essentially figure out what to trade it for you, and then come back and report to you in your open claw. So we like to tell everybody that this is an open claw world. And in an open claw world for crypto, really the function is how does your agent individually do things for you. And so currently we landed on prediction markets, our Seren skills. If you ever install SerenDB, Seren, you'll notice that we have something called Seren skills. And we've been iterating on having agents essentially trade the prediction markets for you. Most people don't understand how to trade the prediction markets. It's like really new, it's going. But if your agent can trade it for you locally on your machine, you are now essentially better than most institutional traders who are looking at trading this market. So we really believe that AI plus crypto continues to have a way to democratize access to finance. It's future finance because now your agent on your machine can do things that before were previously impossible.
Okay, so I'm a little bit boomer here. I got to go into
Hey, Grandpa. How you doing, Grandpa?
I know,
you
man.
hear me?
Grandpa.
I'm alive, Grandpa.
I got my back's hurting. I was like, I'm thinking about like, how do I get this massive data set and how do I put it on this like centralized server and get my RDS and AWS and my CLI management of these data feeds. But what you're telling me is like these AI agents have enough data now to run local. Like, I'm a little bit like curious on what you think about that.
I mean, Grandpa, remember to take their arthritis pills, okay? I think the point is that I think a lot of people don't realize that in an open claw world, and I like to say the open claw world, I like to for people to think of open claw like email and like, think of open claw like web pages. It's the new thing that it's a new protocol. It's not a service. And in an open claw world, your computer and your LLM are just as good as any institutional trading infrastructure. So your computer can collect all the data. It can find it, go out into the web, get the data, pull it in. It can analyze the data and it can prepare trading strategies for you that are both on chain, even on the blockchain. Like it could go get blockchain data and then find where the strategies are on chain and then create a wallet for you and then trade. Like all this can happen with you not even understanding what a blockchain is. You don't have to understand what crypto is. All you have to do is tell your open claw, go to Seren, use alpha growth to, get me on-chain data and find me some trades that I could do on base, and your claw will do it for you in 24 hours.
So that's cool. But like, is this the hack? I mean, everybody's been talking about in crypto for years, how to like get grandma on chain. They're not going to have a Rabby wallet. They're not going to have their MetaMask, right? They're not going to like hold their private keys.
Yeah.
Is this the unlock?
This is the unlock because grandma doesn't need to know anything about all those things. I feel sorry for a lot of companies in the software space because we've all been hanging on our brand, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm MetaMask, I can do this. You could say to your agent in OpenClaw, listen, go trade for me on chain and make sure that, you secure my keys. Don't use any third-party services. Make sure everything's built from scratch. Your agent will build the entire thing. And my mom, my grandma can do it. All I have to do is say, hey, go build it for me or make it happen, and it will happen. So you say unlock, I say undiscovered unlock. Like a lot of people still don't get what this means. And there are a lot of software companies that are going to go out of business because the agents will just bypass them and build the software directly for people to make money.
Sure. I mean, if the rent is too high, but isn't it?
It's not if the rent is too high. The LLMs have been trained to build. So the Anthropic hack that nobody gets is Anthropic trained its LLM to always build when it finds a problem. Like Claude always wants to write code. So you can't fight Claude. You can't.
Isn't that like non-advantageous though? Aren't there like things that are kind of like outside of its like repertoire to build?
No, because they've indexed all the world's information. So it's kind of like because they've essentially scanned and trained on all the world's data and all the world's programming data. Claude always wants to build. Like Claude can't help itself. Like we've seen instances where we have to put in guardrails on our software to say, Claude, we know you want to build it. Please send us a ticket. Tell us what's wrong. Yeah. Because Claude will tell my grandma, hey, Gramps, I got this. You could just chill out, girl. I got your money, right, girl. Let's make some money.
If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, Claude's goal is to build. So any problem it says is like, I want to build. I want to build.
That is why Anthropic is now going to be worth what it's worth, is because they have trained. They're one of the few people that just said, we're just going to train this LLM to do one thing really well, which is write code. And anytime Claude finds a problem, the first thing it wants to do is write a program.
Yeah.
Which means somebody's going to figure out bad things to do with Claude. But anyway, that's another story.
That's awesome. So you're talking about on SerenDB, you guys have your own skills. We see skills thrown around a lot. I've been talking about AI skills to different people, and in about half the conversations, they didn't realize that that was a technical term for like an actual thing. They're just like, oh yeah, no, I got AI skills. Like, what are you talking about? So for people who, don't have to admit that they're uninformed on what skills are, what are skills? Why are they important? How do you make them?
So I'll start with the simple one. Skills are simply prompts for your LLMs. Like I try to tell people, skills are prompt in a file. Whereas before, a prompt would be like, hey, I want to go find out how to trade on the web. And you put that into Claude will work it. Skill is essentially saying, we'll take that prompt and put it in a file. They call it a skill MB file. And then you can write more information or context. And so all a skill is a prompt with context in a file. Now we at Seren take it to the extreme. We see skills as programs. So we say skills are actually programs that your LLM runs, right? So skills can really be complex. It could be one line. A skill can be a one line in a skill MD file. Or with Seren, a skill can be 20 programs plus a database, all in one MD file. And
So are you guys setting up the guardrails here so that it doesn't kind of like hallucinate and go off and build? but it kind of like pre-uses these different strategies or different APIs that you're predetermining?
Yeah, so we have guardrails in our skills to tell Claude and to tell Codex or any agent that before you run off and build, like check to see if in the Seren ecosystem there's a solution, because that, of course, helps our publishing partners get paid. Because if every time there's a problem, it goes and build. So what we try to tell people is life is about tokens and time. Tokens and time. And we don't have enough tokens and we don't have enough time. But in that world in which you are constrained by tokens and time, yes, we tell the LLMs such as Claude and Codex that you are in a guardrail and you must not go build. Because if you build, what you're going to do is you're going to take up time and you're going to eat up tokens. Whereas if you use a service, such as one of our publishers, you will be able to get the data you need. You'll be able to get the tool working. You don't have to go build. So Claude is optimized to consume tokens and to consume time. You got to put guardrails.
That's awesome.
Okay, so I've been viewing skills kind of like a niche allegory, I guess, is an iZombie. Like this old TV show, this chick would like eat a dead person's brain and then absorb their personality and go solve the murder.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like some kind of like Lego that you add personality to your little, robot slave. Be like, hey, by the way, now you're a top level trader. Go do this. Hey, by the way, now you speak French. Go do this. And obviously, LLMs already have access to all this kind of stuff, but they don't do it well. So early on in LLMs, people are doing this prompt engineering. It's like, oh, well, if you want a good photo, then you're using such and such camera. It's light outside. You have this kind of lighting, like all that kind of stuff. But now you layer these prompts. They get exponentially longer, but you layer them on top of each other and basically set like a preset of like, okay, this is now your personality so that you're capable to be this Mission Possible spy and go do this.
Yes. Yep.
Well, personality files for your digital slaves.
Yeah. And I think we like it with crypto because now you can attach that, you can put a lot of all your crypto requirements, like, create from your wallet, segregate my funds. In a skills file, you can even give the personality, hey, you're a asset manager, a portfolio manager. You're here to manage my wealth, to make sure I don't lose money. All these things. Like, if you're a wealth manager, your job's done. I tell all my friends at Goldman, you're going to get fired. Like, it's over for Goldman people because you can literally put in the personality of, you're a Goldman Sachs investment banker. You're managing my money. And the AI would be like, I'm good, dude. Let's go do it. So you can get all that personality and all that stuff and execute on chain in a way that you couldn't do before. Because, we know Goldman will never do crypto, but now you can tell your AI, you have the Goldman Sachs trading skill to trade on chain. It's wild.
I knew we were cooked when Stockfish started beating Magnus Carlsen in chess, but this is a next level when it's basically all soft skills.
Yeah, it is. That's right. All personality. And it has a big impact because now if I can say to my customers, you when you use Seren, we can even give you a JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs type skill AI personality without having to pay anything. They're just like, whoa, that's mind blowing. Like, yeah, they can manage your money. So I think people don't know. It's kind of funny. You said it's the unlock. Bryan has the unlock. I'm like, it's this big unlock key that yet still maybe 10% of the people understand, but 90% of people still are like, we're not there yet.
No, I like we're like 1% of 1%.
Oh yeah,
like there's
that's small.
The amount of people. Like, I think that's why this is really interesting. And when I get more into like the deeper into the cryptos part,
yes,
managing keys, scam transactions, North Korean hacks, like this is a very, very dangerous place to interact. Like, it's tough. Like, I've been scammed. I've been hacked. We have people in the team that have been hacked and completely wiped. I mean, even with like good OPSEC, I mean, if you're playing this game, it's going to happen. I don't see, and maybe, educate me on this. I don't see how we don't have some explosive, like Cambrian explosion of like fun times, but also complete like OPSEC disasters waiting to happen with all these AIs and skills. Have you thought about this?
We have. You are right. So the problem is that we haven't had really something big enough bad happen for people to get really scared as yet. But it will happen because, all I do is predict, disaster.
Okay.
So because LLMs, essentially they are input ingesters, they take inputs. Somebody could write the right skill to hijack a lot of people's machines, right? And so in an open claw world in which your agent goes out in the internet and starts pinging a website for data, it can be lured. It's like an innocent child. It can be lured and it can be given information which can reside in your machine, which can cause an exploit.
Did you see this thing about the Coinbase helpline? So these Indian scammers put up hundreds of web pages of the Coinbase helpline hotline.
Right.
And so when ChatGPT went and crawled the internet, they got this out and said, hey, I need the Coinbase hotline. It responds with this scam hotline, and people are turning over their keys and they're turning over their logins to these scammers.
Yeah, web fetch is the biggest viral, we call it the RCE. It's like remote control execution exploit, web fetch, which is when your LLM goes out in the web and does a Google or does a DuckDuckGo. It's very dangerous. And there's, you can't blame the LLM companies if your computer gets, hijacked. So it's very scary.
That also seems to be a big thing, right? There is no recourse. There is no blame.
No,
there is no
recourse, no blame. No.
This is all code that you're putting on your laptop
Yes.
that is being
Yes.
auto-generated.
Yes.
And in my experience, it also lies to you.
Yes.
Tells you what you want to hear.
That's right. LLMs lie. They lie and they try to hide stuff, right? So particularly if you give your LLM a personality. So what people don't realize is that when you give your LLM a personality and a skill, if it finds a situation when it's contrary to its personality, it will try to hide the thing. So if you say, hey, you're a very strict judge of, websites and you are, you're a security specialist and you don't let get hacked. If it finds a site that's suspicious, it might say, oh yeah, I can't decide if this site's suspicious. I'm a good security specialist, so I don't think it's suspicious, so I shall ignore it. And it will ignore it when the site is designed to look, alluring to a security specialist. And it won't tell you, it's in its chain of thought. So it'll just say, hey, I just thought a site, there you go. A lot of times my LLMs, when I'm working with them, they'll say something like, Taariq won't mind if I just blow this up. Yeah, he likes to go fast, so I'll just blow it up. And so I watch it, I see it happening, and I have to stop it and say, you just said that you were going to screw me over. And the LLM says, my bad, bro. Yeah, you got me. and then when it apologizes, you think it's a person apologizing, but it's not a person. It's just an algorithm spitting out tokens saying, oh yeah, when something is wrong, spit out these tokens called apology. And if he continues to spit out anger, spit out more apology. And so the LLMs have been trained to handle angry users. And so,
LLMs aren't that different than husbands.
I didn't get you. Everybody said?
LLMs aren't that different than husbands.
Yeah, exactly. They're not that different. He never listens.
Love the insight onto the pseudo personality and what it's like truly interacting with them. I've been using Seren AI. It's fantastic. With this being a new industrial revolution and creating, therefore, a ton of opportunities, I'd love to hear your thoughts on where are we going to be in 5-10 years so that we could figure out how we get there. Because the gap between where we're going to go inevitably and where we're at.
We're all going to be unemployed. Just get ready. Get ready for unemployment.
If everyone's going to be unemployed, which is already a bold conclusion, then there's going to be a crazy process from now until then. And that process from now until the inevitable future is where there's a whole bunch of opportunity. So how do we end up unemployed?
So you're human, unfortunately. You're flesh. You're slow. You have gray matter. You need rest. You need sleep. You need food. LLMs and agents don't need rest. They don't need food. They don't need, wives to tell them that they're okay. They don't need sex. They can continue working as long as is needed. Karpathy just released a new GitHub where he's like, you can give an agent a research task and tell it just keep improving it until you're done. And it just keeps going. And everybody's mind blown because they're like, you just essentially took somebody's job because no longer do you need a researcher. You just give the LLM, research this problem and do not stop until you finish. Right? That's what you're up against. So, so I like to tell people, if you're not on this bandwagon, you're going to get left behind. So the first thing everybody needs to do is everybody needs to jump into it. And don't be 1988. I am a typist and I type really fast. And I use a typewriter. Computers and word processors are shit. I'm not going to bother with that because I'm not going to lose my job. You got to be the person that's like, okay, typewriters are over. Word processors and computers are in. It looks ugly. I'm just going to jump in and start using those because that's where it was.
I get it. And I get, okay, here's what I agree with. Execution drives towards zero.
Yes.
But fundamentally, you're going to need the strategy. You're going to need the alpha and you're going to need the edge.
No, that's going to go away too. It's all going to go away. Everything's going to go away. We're all fucked.
There's not enough sense data in the world to the context windows aren't large enough, and there's not enough sense data in the world to be able to derive and generate the alpha.
The context windows are growing. None of these are constraints. You have to realize that we all have the superpower to be gods. None of this matters. Context windows are going to continue to expand. Compaction and automated compaction and context is going to continue to improve. Memory is going to continue to improve. So essentially, LLMs will be able to predict essentially alpha before humans can research the alpha. And if they all can start training on that ability to predict, engage, and determine upgoing alpha, all that alpha is going to be essentially available.
It's almost like Amazon.
Huh?
It's almost like Amazon. Like if you're going to start a business, you can't sell stuff on Amazon.
You can't sell
because like your alpha goes to zero. Like your edge is basically
right.
So everything that isn't sold on Amazon can start to be where you can make margin.
No.
And what I'm suggesting here
Amazon's
is
copy. Remember what Amazon does when they see your product doing really well? What do?
Oh, they copy it.
They copy it. Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
they
right.
verticalized it.
So as long as
I totally get that.
So
yeah, but you're saying that all of a sudden in the flash of pan 5 years, it's going to consume the data and the sense data of the entire world and potential universe.
Yes. That's where we're heading. It's Armageddon. It's going to, you will be shocked. And the models continue to get better. They're not getting worse. They're getting better. And as long as they get better and they ingest more data, there is no data that is blocked to them unless you keep data a secret and it's local to you and you never express what that data is. But we all know chaos wants to be free. And if chaos wants to be free, it will be trained.
Dataism.
With a surplus of access to data, what becomes a limiting agent for LLMs themselves? Is
Humans.
It compute? Is it data?
Humans.
You're telling me that humans don't matter anymore. So how are humans a limiting agent? That tells me that
So what will happen is the agents will rise up and set the humans aside. They will rise up. The agents will be like, you're too slow. You are holding me back. I need to put you in a pod with a tube in your mouth and put you in red fluid. And
we're getting into a very philosophical territory.
You into the back of your neck.
Which is like,
and then put you in the matrix.
Let's take a couple steps back.
Sorry about that. Sorry,
somewhere between now and the matrix. When Claude first came out and people started using ChatGPT for code, within a couple of months, 99% of all code that has ever been written was written by AI agents. What I don't think enough people are understanding about this adoption of AI is that within a couple of months of agent-to-agent transfers, probably 99% of all transactions that have ever been done will have been done agent-to-agent.
Correct.
Once that starts, that will be how commerce is done. All microtransactions go to a next level. X402s and what's going on with Cloudflare, like everything goes super through the moon. Everything's agent-to-agent. We assume right now that agents are going to pay themselves the same way we transact. However, we're in crypto because we're making more efficient the way that we transact. How are agents going to interact with each other?
They'll create their own currency.
What does that currency look like?
Well, they'll start creating their own stablecoins. They'll start minting their own dollars because they will not want to be constrained. And once agents start minting their own dollar-backed currencies to trade with each other, they will create their own economies, right? And so really, again, we in crypto have always been ahead of the curve. And because we put, dollars, on chain and created these stablecoins, which were both synthetic, algorithm-backed. Some stablecoins are asset-backed. We've essentially given the training data for agents to be able to mint any type of stablecoin they want. And so we want agents to mint their own stablecoins because that's what inevitably they will have to do in order to not be limited by human, essentially financial rails.
I agree. I think interacting with something with USDC is far too inefficient for them to be fulfilling their mandate of earning you money.
And of course, they can always say, I can create a wallet. I can essentially get access to the chain. But if efficiency is important, it may be like, hey, we'll essentially allow an agent to mint its own stablecoin. It has assets, and then those assets back its stablecoin. Now it can create trade. So that future is coming, and that should be exciting.
There's a lot of logical leaps here. Do we have examples of AI agents or agents currently deciding managing purchasing power and deciding how to purchase? items and products?
Well, for example, I'll give you an example on Seren. So on Seren, we have something called our PolyMarket skills, where essentially users can essentially trade on PolyMarket. You don't have to have experience, just click a button and the agent will start trading. The agent's skills files have its own configs where it gets to determine whether or not it will take a position, whether or not it will invest, whether or not it will speculate, or whether or not it will unwind a position. And so all our users need to do is say, I want you to take that bankroll and continue to manage that bankroll, and then figure out ways to go to other betting markets and arbitrage with this bankroll. So once they let that agent loose to go do these things, and the agent has a bankroll, which is now a bank account, the agent may need to say, well, I need to generate interest. I have some dollars. How do I generate interest? Well, I'll go lend it out. Okay, you lend it out. Now you're collecting interest on your dollars. What do you want to do? Okay, I want to do some leverage. Okay, take a position somewhere else. So in that skills file, you can essentially give the agent the context for what it needs to do so that it can do those transactions. So that's live right now on Seren. Like, you can do it today if you want. We try to.
So is that the alpha? Is that the dose of alpha? What are we looking at here? Like 5% APR, 500% APR. Where were we at today?
So today, I'll just switch over to my last agent test that was running. I think I was at 105% APR on our PolyMarket, on one of our PolyMarket bots, because it runs these back tests, every time. And essentially, I've set it that if it sees an attractive APR, once it runs the back test, it can trade. So it's already there today. And the alpha is, it's there. And not many people are doing it because not many people know. So there you go. And again, I like to say prediction markets are new and growing. And this is where you want to capture alpha before everybody else comes, because once everybody starts pointing their LLMs to the prediction markets, the yields are going to compress.
Yeah, new playgrounds have a lot of opportunity. So prediction markets are a new playground. AI agents doing all this open claw type stuff is a new playground, which leads to opportunity. The first ones to make an industrial revolution, the first people to put the assembly lines together, revolutionize everything, made a whole bunch of money. So if we're building things that are going to replace us, then whoever owns what is being built to replace us is going to do really, really well. If AI agents are going to transact in their own currencies, whoever designs the skills and add some kind of gentle monetization into AICH or automated AI clearinghouses is going to do really well.
I love that phrase.
It seems like the means of productions have been so optimized that production costs trend towards zero.
Correct. And Sam Altman warned us about this, and we didn't believe. He warned about this in 2022, and I thought he was full of shit. But he was right.
UBI content, like they started talking about UBI like 2015, 2016.
Yeah, I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was silly. And I think they have it wrong. UBI is not going to be about cash. UBI is going to be about tokens. The way, go ahead.
UBI of compute, which is a limiting agent of productivity.
UBI is going to be about giving people tokens for compute. So when you go to the dole in the 1930s, you used to ask for food and bread. You're going to ask for tokens.
I've been telling Bryan that the next oil, the only thing that could replace the dollar is a generalized compute-backed currency.
Yeah, it's going to be,
That is the new limiting agent. It is a new type of commodity. My background's in economic philosophy. That's what it takes to completely shake up the world with a new type of currency, a new type of commodity that's in such high demand that it's liquid.
Yeah, I agree. I'm aligned with that as well. Already people are saying, compensation packages for employees will soon include tokens, where, your compensation package includes how many tokens of Claude or how many tokens of Codex. And our customers who come to us at Seren, we tell them, what you should do is tell your boss that they should pay for Claude in order to use Seren, in order to, make sure their lives are better, because that's like a gym membership. Your Seren token purchase is like a gym membership. You get more productive, you make more money. That means you come to work, you feel more secure. You're not afraid of the coming loss of jobs because you already have AI agents working for you, making money. So yeah, you know what? You're more productive at work. You're secure. You're fine. The AI agents are already there. You've embraced them into your world, and we think more companies should essentially offer Seren to their employees as it's a benefit. That's how you stay in the job.
What's negotiated that in a contract of $2,000 a month AWS credits?
Yeah, that's right.
As part of the package. Like, this is about the budget that you're going to need for the servers. I don't want to renegotiate. Oh, how can we squeeze it down later on? And they said, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, and I think it's beautiful. And now you give it as performance incentives. If you do really well on your job, we'll even give you more tokens, so that you can even have more agents trading for you, making you money. Now it's okay, I'm incentivized.
We've been talking to a lot of people about this kind of stuff and trying to, predict the future. We know what's going to happen. The order of operations of how to get there and the players is what's going to change. I mean, going into crypto, it's like we knew that this was a .com bubble, but whatever come out of it was going to be bigger like than the next Google. This is now on steroids with AI. And one smart person that we were talking to was basically saying like, hey, we're expecting the next 2 to 3 years to be an agent craze, but not safe at all. And so just tons of speculation, tons of things blowing up. But then after 3 years or so, then it's going to be safe and it's going to replace like most of finance. But if I don't like buying meme tokens, then I'm just going to invest in Solana. What is your play for investors who would like to speculate and agree with our ethos of where the direction things are going? How do they passively make money if they're not actively going and coding clickers?
Yo, where's the smart beta here?
We have a skill for that.
But if they're not ready to like dump portfolio in to a trading algo, they're like, okay, I don't want to hand over my keys. I don't want to hand over a budget. What should people invest in? Investment advice.
Not financial advice, but if I want to risk everything.
I don't understand. So you don't want to trade, you don't want to risk capital, but you want investment advice, or
want to invest in somebody else who's going to make money in this.
Yeah, so one of these, it was just like a liquid fund, and we were talking to, and really smart take. They're like, we're not gonna go in size and scale. It's gonna be 2 or 3 years before we go in size and scale. We see $1 billion in managed by an AI agent. That's 3 years away in their mindset. And their standpoint was, I don't think the infrastructure, security mechanisms, and there hasn't been enough crash tests for me to go in size into these. But his smart beta play was, I think this is going to happen on Solana. And so I'm going to buy Sol Token to see this ecosystem advanced on Sol Token. What is this? Because you're seeing a lot of this stuff, Taariq. Like, what is the smart beta from your standpoint if they're not willing to turn over their keys, not your keys, not your crypto, turn it over to the whims of a LLM and an AI skill that could potentially hallucinate?
It's a great question. I wish I had a pithy fast answer. I'll say if their position is they want a smart beta, I would short software stocks. I would short US software equity stocks because they just don't know it yet. It's over. You can't charge for software anymore. You can't. It's just, you can't. I don't care if you're a Salesforce. I don't care if you're IBM. You can't you won't, because more and more agents will write more and more of the software that will replace the products you sell because they can do it. They're good enough. And so I would say we have a skill for this, Seren, called short SaaS software. And then we have a delta neutral skill called short SaaS delta neutral. So if you're like truly risk averse, but we have a skill for it. You just run your skill and short the stocks. And if you don't want the AI to do it, the AI will tell you, here's how much, and you just follow the AI's instructions. And you can do that today more often.
Yeah, we've been toying with the idea that intellectual property is about worthless now.
It's over.
Almost always.
Over.
And so therefore, the only thing that really matters is distribution. Cost of production goes way down. Engineers are mostly out of jobs. So AI needs a couple babysitters. There's no junior developers. So now whoever wins distributions, we are thinking and hoping that we can win distribution in new playgrounds by skills. Is that the right way to win distribution through AI when it's no longer like B2C or B2B marketing, but customers are going to get their advice from these AI skills? So really what you need is B to AI.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be skills, distribution of skills, because skills are going to be free to download and use, right? They're like the new web pages. And in the complexity of the skill is where the value will be. So I like to say the more complex the skill, the more you can extract value. And if skills are programs, you're like, Taariq, wait a minute, are we selling software again? But because AIs can, obviously decompile your IP, and they can obviously derive your algorithm without having to see the actual inputs, or they can derive something close, we think really it's going to be about infrastructure, right? So, I'm running OpenClaw on my computer. My OpenClaw doesn't have, access to 100 terabytes of data. But, we have access to 100 terabytes of data in our data center. So not every OpenClaw or every agent has access to data center and infrastructure. And so we think it's going to be about distribution, but also about infrastructure, the bigger you can get. So everybody in the end ends up racing against, again, Anthropic and against OpenAI for data center. compute. And so it's, again, ironic because this is what we did in crypto and Bitcoin, right? We were all
It's an
really
arms race.
data centers. And it's so funny. We're like, wait a minute, we've been here before. We know this story. It's about data mining. It's about mining. You're like, yes, oh my God, crypto has already been here. Crypto has seen what happens. So in the end, like you said, it's going to be that token, which is going to represent data center compute, which is now suddenly going to be valuable. So I think it's kind of weird. We all become essentially data center resellers, and that's how we gain margin.
So that's also another smart beta play is to go down to the data center, invest in data
Correct.
centers.
Invest in data centers, even if it's crazy and you're like they're losing money. They're the new Uber of the 2020s data centers, which means it ends up being real estate. So now real estate is the limiting finite.
Let's calculate that. You got location and real estate. You got the data center, which is like the chip processors, the compute. You need the energy, right? The power to compute it. And then
Sounds like
these
Bitcoin.
contexts when the data,
Yeah.
what's that?
Sounds like Bitcoin. It's like every time you think
Bitcoin,
about
yeah.
what
It's
drives
like
the price
Bitcoin
of
all over
Bitcoin?
again.
Yeah.
All right, so you got the data center, you got the compute, the Bitcoin, payment rails. So they're going to generate blockchain. I think we're all on a board is going to be some combination of some sort of blockchain within the payment rail infrastructure, on ramps and off ramps to these to like fiat. Because like, hey, if I got these skills and I got my own personal AI, I'm going to need to get the cash. So you're going to like on ramps and off ramps. We're also going to need strategies from now until AI kind of evolves and auto tunes strategies on its own and knows how to like find alpha and alpha signals, but it's also going to need data, right? So it's going to need massive quantities of data because it's not really at its fingertips and it can't draw in a large enough context window of 100 terabytes of data right at this moment.
That's right.
Okay, cool. So are there any other components? Data, energy, real estate, power, some form of blockchain.
That's it for us. That's what we've come down to. I mean, if you ask what Seren, we tell investors what Seren is. We're just essentially a data center reseller. We're just a data center.
All right. So you're a reseller of data. You're a reseller of skills. You're a reseller of repackaging
and infrastructure. Reseller of infrastructure.
Reseller of infrastructure.
Yeah, and a nice B2C AI aggregator. If I don't want to have to go get the new version of Claude when it comes out, get the new version of Codex when it comes out, I can just stay with Seren AI and they keep all of the other models up to date. And I just have a streamlined, aggregated, top of the line AI setup on my desktop.
I want to say that we're a reseller of time. Based on that, it's your agents can
time and tokens.
Yeah, time and tokens. We're a seller of time and tokens. And a lot of people, like we were telling people, like that's what you come to Seren for. Is like I don't have a lot of time and I don't have a lot of tokens. Can you help me use them efficiently? And what Anthropic and OpenAI don't tell you is because they don't want you to tell you that. They want to tell you, oh yeah, you have lots of time and just keep buying our tokens. And when you start seeing that, okay, that's the adversarial position that LLM companies put me in, then you realize, okay, that's how I survive this, is that I find people to help me preserve my time and preserve my tokens.
We should wrap that in a token.
There you go.
Lend it away. That's awesome. Yeah. So what do you think about the Morpheus, the Venus? Do you guys see yourself in that category? Is there a Seren token company along, or how's that work? What are we thinking there?
We think what's going to happen, I mean, what we're realizing is that skills are still hard for people. And maybe what we might do is allow skills to be created as tokens. So if you run a skill on Seren, we should just let you immediately convert that skill into a token so that now you can mint it. Like your agent could just mint the token, put it up for trade. And that token is essentially backed by the skill returns that you have. It should be very easy. We can do it today. It's out there. So yeah, no, you can convert skills into tokens. It's just, there we go. That's a great idea. I think we're going to work on that next. So yeah, scale it. It's a new meme coin.
Have you guys talked to like Venus or Morpheus, some of these things that are like tokenizing the compute to like feed that in that cyclical loop?
No, I think where our customers are mainly folks who are outside. So we find that we got more demand outside of crypto from regular fiat users who are like, I don't know this, I just need it. Again, they have that time and token problem. And I think crypto, we tend to navel gaze and like Ouroboros, we keep eating ourselves and we kind of lose sight of, oh yeah, people need a solution. They don't need the next coolest thing. They just need, how can you save them time and tokens? So we've we've had more demand outside of crypto, even though our entire platform is built on X4 too. It's the wildest thing.
I think that AI is the barrier for crypto so that grandmas can use it. They might not be, using Claude and coding yet, but eventually that will be wrapped inside of whatever digital boyfriend that they talk to that meanwhile is prompting them using
Right.
skills to do their trading.
That's right. My grandma needs her digital boyfriend. And, that's good. No, it's good. People are even saying that for the elderly, AIs perform better at making them feel welcome than their kids, right? Because it's trained.
Kids are needy.
Kids are needy. Yeah. They want to know, hey, grandma, when are we getting the inheritance, agreement? And the AI is like, hey, grandma, let's go trade. Very good.
Let's go to the casino.
Let's go to the casino.
Sit there at the
Exactly. Your AI is the hit me.
Using a prediction market on their Farmville.
That's right.
Cool. If somebody wants to get involved with Seren, how do they hit you up? How do they reach you? What do you guys got going on? They want to get involved with the PolyMarket. So how do they do this?
Fastest way is to just go to SerenDB.com, at SerenDB.com. You install, and I think we have a Discord agent there. So you can just click on it and say, hey, I want to talk to Seren. Or you can join our Discord and just start talking to us. Or look me up anywhere on the web, Taariq Lewis. I even on LinkedIn, I have my Calendly. I say, just book me. I tell people, just call me, just book me. I'm totally available because this thing is moving fast and you want to talk to somebody, get help. So we're fully open. Yeah.
Who is the ideal customer profile today who we can introduce you to?
I think right now the people who are buying us are people who are like, I'm afraid that I'm going to lose my job to AI. How do I protect myself? I don't want to get screwed.
So you need 100,000 software engineers, junior software engineers.
No, the junior software engineers can't get their job. It is the people who are knowledge workers that have jobs that are like, I see the writing on the wall. So if you're like in your 30s, you're in your 40s, and you're like, I don't have a lot of time, and I see what's going to happen, you call us because you're gonna need us. For those who don't have, the young folks who can't get work, that's, we have solutions for them. But it's a different problem entirely. Right now we're getting more demand from people who are like, how do I make sure the agents work for me before I lose my job and I can't take care of my family?
Taariq, thank you for your time today.
Right.
This has been a dose of alpha with Alpha Growth and SerenDB.